Hi guys, this is Bill from Spencer1984.com with another update to the Last of Us Chevy S-10. This week I'm going to be starting on some chassis work, and like the body, I'm going to be combining the Sonoma and Blazer parts to get the full length that I need. So, on the Sonoma chassis, I've got it marked out where I need to cut it, and I'll be saving the back half of this. And then on the Blazer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it right here after this cross member. That way I can give it the better looking drive shaft and axle from the Sonoma and also get rid of that big ugly screw hole. So, and now that I got my two halves, give this a quick look-see, and it's not too bad. The frame rail is broad and right behind the front wheels, so I'm going to need to narrow down the Sonoma rails a little bit, but otherwise looks like they'll line up. So let me just get these glued together. And that looks not too bad. I narrowed down the frame rails, got them lined up, got a little bit of a fillet on the top of the floor just to even it out. Like the body, the Blazer parts are a little bit thicker than the Sonomas. Next I'll have to address the transmission tunnel and the box supports that I cut off, but first I gotta wait for the glue to dry on this really good. So in the meantime, do some interior work. Like with the body, I've got some tape marking off where I need to cut it. I'm going to do that right behind the rear seat. And speaking of the seats, I actually really lucked out in at least one respect thanks to Hollywood and how TV shows are made. See, as part of the 98 refresh for these trucks, they received redesigned interiors with much taller headrests that looked like this. But the show had a totally different style in them, I assume so that the actors weren't blocked when they were shooting the scene. So since Bill's truck had a custom interior in it, as long as the headrests don't look like this, they'll be perfectly fine. And I can even leave the Blazer rear seat exactly as it is because it's low enough that you can't really see it all that well. But first thing I'm going to do though is cut off the back of this. And there we go. It is not my neatest cut, but it's going to be behind the rear seat and hidden by the back of the cab and the floor. So I'm going to call that good enough. And if I take a look at it inside the cab, I can snap it right back into its pegs, get that lined up, and you kind of have an impression of what that's going to look like. And I'm thinking that's working okay. I also started cleaning off the sides of the body, getting that sanded down. Still have a little bit of a step here that I'm going to need to fill in, but really not too bad. So at this point, I think I've got all of the major components cut to size. For the interior, I'm going to see if I can get the seats out. There's a lot of glue holding them in place, so I might not be able to. I might have to modify them where they are. For the body, I'm going to fill in those side panels, get the roof sanded off, and I'll be showing a little bit more on how I do that without risking damage to the details. On the chassis, cut off this transmission hump, get the rear box supports back in place, and see about adding the suspension components. I'm also going to have to do a little bit more work on the box, so I will be showing off that and the cab work next week. You can check back then, and thanks for watching.